Riddles and brain teasers require lateral thinking and the ability to find creative solutions. You'll need to think far outside the box to solve these 6 tricky murder riddles. Share this video with others that you know who love tricky riddles or fun brain teasers. Riddle 6. Ken caught his wife Kelly cheating on him with his best friend Bob. Ken and Kelly had only been married for a year and a half. He was devastated, but he knew he had to leave Kelly for good this time because he deserved better. He left Kelly the house and everything in it, but they made arrangements for him to come pick up his clothes, diabetes pills, his books, and his passport on Sunday after the football game. Ken picked up his things and he was surprised how well Kelly was taking everything. Initially, she made threats and cursed him out, but now she seemed so calm and relaxed. Ken figured Kelly was happy with his best friend, and she realized Ken wasn't what she wanted anymore. That stung like hell, but Ken was committed to getting over her. The next day, after work, Ken's brother, Alan, popped up at his house to check on him. He knocked on the door, but there was no answer. He searched the house and found Ken dead on the floor in his bedroom. Next to the bed, there was water on the floor and a water bottle too. How did Ken die? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. Before Ken came to pick up his things, Kelly swapped Ken's diabetes pills with fentanyl pills. Ken's pill bottle said to take 2 pills every night with water. Ken took 2 pills out of the bottle and put the pill bottle back in the drawer of his nightstand, then he went to the kitchen to get a bottle of water. Ken took the 2 pills and drank some water on his way back to bed, but he never made it. He overdosed on the fentanyl because one fentanyl pill is 50 to 100 times stronger than heroin, and Ken took 2 thinking they were his insulin pills. This is why Kelly was no longer upset with Ken leaving her. She knew she had swapped Ken's pills with fentanyl, and she also knew as soon as he took the pills he would die. Like, comment, subscribe. Riddle 5. Missing woman. Angela was a cute, petite blonde, who decided to go on vacation by herself since none of her friends were available to go with her, and she was currently not dating anyone special. So, she flew from Los Angeles to Miami and checked into the Hilton Hotel on Wednesday. She was due to check out on Saturday, but at checkout time on Saturday no one could find her. The hotel staff checked her room. All her things were still in her room. Her clothes were hung in the closet, her luggage was in the closet on the floor, and her purse was on the nightstand next to the bed. The bed looked like it hadn't been slept in, and Angela was nowhere to be found. The hotel manager contacted the local police to report Angela missing. When the police arrived, they demanded to see the hotel surveillance video. Unfortunately, the hotel only had surveillance in the lobby. After watching hours of video, the police saw Angela get in the elevator going up for the last time on Friday, but they never saw her on the video again. They saw a lot of other guests coming and going, but they never saw Angela on the video after she got on the elevator. The police did a thorough search of every inch of the hotel, and they couldn't find Angela. How did Angela leave the hotel without being seen on the surveillance video? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. The man in the room next door to Angela saw her in the elevator, and he thought she was cute. So, later that night he knocked on her door and asked her would she like to join him for dinner. When she refused it angered him, and he choked her until she died. He left her on the floor of her room while he ran next door to his own room to get his suitcase. Since Angela was only 5 feet 1 inch and 100 pounds, she fit in the suitcase very easily. After he stuffed her body into his suitcase, he wheeled her out of the hotel in his suitcase and then drove a few miles away and dumped her body by the side of the road. Riddle 4. David was the best stockbroker at the brokerage firm he worked at. He brought in more clients than any other broker, and he made more money for the firm than any other broker. Thus far, David had received 3 raises in the past year, and on Friday he won his 10th consecutive Employee of the Month award. David didn't work weekends, but on Sunday morning David's boss DM'd him before church to inform him that he was fired. Why did David get fired on his off day? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. David had been posting negative offensive comments about his boss and his job on Facebook and Twitter, his boss saw the comments, and that's why David's boss DM'd him to fire him instead of calling him or waiting until Monday. Riddle there. Dead sister. Brian's mother was dying from brain cancer. She didn't have much longer to live. In fact, according to her team of doctors, she had less than a week to live. Brian and his sister Ashley were her only children, and upon her death each of them would inherit $100,000, but if one of the children died before their mother, the surviving child would inherit $200,000 instead of $100,000. Ashley was overcome with tears and grief about the impending death of their mother. Brian begged Ashley to go for a drive with him to clear her mind. They drove for a while until Brian saw a secluded wooded area where he pulled over and slit Ashley's throat with a box cutter. She died almost instantly because he sliced her jugular vein. Brian wiped the blood off the box cutter onto Ashley's shirt. Then he ran deep into the woods and buried the box cutter under a thick hedge of trees and bushes where it would never be found. Next, he drove to a nearby bridge, pulled out a pair of rubber gloves from his pocket, and slips them on. Then he looks around carefully to be sure no one is there to witness as he drags Ashley's limp body out of the car. He lifts her body above the rail and drops her over the bridge into the water below. He stood there watching until her body completely sank. Then he went home, cleaned, and shampooed his car's interior before returning to the hospital to sit at his mother's bedside. Later the police called Brian to inform him that they think his sister had been brutally murdered, and he need to come to the morgue to positively identify her body. As soon as he arrives, he is arrested for the murder of his sister. How did the police know Brian murdered his sister? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. There were cameras on the bridge that captured Brian throwing his sister's bloody body over the bridge into the water below. The cameras also recorded his license plate number, which made it super easy to know with absolute certainty that it was Brian who murdered his sister. Riddle 2. On a hot day in July, Tiffany, Maria, Sam, and Linda all decide to go swimming together in the murky waters of the Detroit River. Each of the 4 girls were wearing a bikini. Once they arrived at the river, they decided to dive into the river to see who could dive the deepest. 3 girls resurfaced alive, but when Sam resurfaced, she was dead. She had a deep stab wound in her neck. Which girl murdered Sam? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. After they jumped in the murky water, Maria pulled the chopsticks out of her hair and stabbed Sam in the throat because she heard that Sam was flirting with her boyfriend at a party over the weekend. Riddle 1. On a warm spring day, Bob and his wife Carol had their favorite couple, Barbara and Steve, over for Sunday brunch. They served black coffee for Bob and Carol, milk and cream, and sugar cubes. There was also lemonade for Barbara because she doesn't drink coffee. With the coffee and lemonade, they served ham and cheese sandwiches and fresh watermelon slices. 5 minutes after brunch began, Steve collapsed. His wife checked his pulse, but it was too late. Steve was dead. What caused Steve's death? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. Bob and Carol only drink their coffee black, and Barbara had lemonade. Steve was the only one to add cream to his drink, and the cream was laced with poison. Barbara had paid Bob and Carol to kill Steve, and they knew Steve would be the only one using the cream, so they added poison to it. How many did you get right? Like, comment, subscribe, see you next time.